Coming up on OTH, where you got the boys Chris and Raymond on the track in the studio. We're introducing ourselves, talking about the patch notes, and discussing our picks of the week. We also talked about the LCS lock-in tournament and shared our thoughts on the upcoming LCS spring split. We hope you enjoy episode 1 of On the Hunt. Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris, aka the Babyface Killer, because I be 25 looking like I'm 12, and I kind of sound like it too if we keep it real. And joining me on every episode is our other co-host, Raymond.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going good, dude. So let's get started with our first episode, man.
All right, I'm ready.
You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Like Chris said here, my name's Raymond. I've been playing League since, 2013, I think. Got back in, that was fucking high school. So I've been playing, for 8 years now. I'm an ADC main. I peaked in Diamond a few seasons, and then, now mostly just watch a shit ton of League. I still play some, not as much as I used to. But I'm reaching back to hit Diamond again. I don't want to be too washed up.
I don't know, man. It could be all downhill from there.
That's true. I just don't like to think about that,
Yeah, for sure. Well, same here. My name is Chris. I first played League sometime in 2011. I started in July 2011 on the patch that Leona came out. And I was playing on my friend's computer. I had my cousin introduce me to the game. I was watching him and I saw him play Lux. He was playing Ashe as well. And I was like, oh, those are so cool. Unfortunately for my cousin, every game that he plays, if I touch that game, I become better at him than it. So shout outs to Peter if you're out there. I don't know what he's doing anymore. I started playing in 2011 as a young 15-year-old. Built my first computer the next year in 2012 for Season 2. And I peaked around 2015 at Diamond 3, 99 LP specifically. And it has been very, very, very downhill from there.
I never knew you were that close, dude.
I've been watching League ever since as well. So I started in 2012 watching League of Legends. Unfortunately, that means I'm a really big TSM fan because they were just winning all the shit at that time. And I think the first tournament I remember it was IPL 4. I mean, I still like the game, even if I'm not playing it some years. I'm kind of on and off, but I watch a lot of the League stuff. I watch the Dive and a lot of I Will Dominate stuff, Face Check, the Crackdown. I watch a lot of Thorn videos because I think they're really interesting. So yeah, that's me and my League of Legends life.
Yeah, dude. You had me thinking about, I think it was Game Cribs. That was the first thing I watched. That was what got me into competitive League, was watching Game Cribs and shit in Season 3.
that of all things is what got you in?
Well, I think I got into League. I had one buddy who was way into it and played all the time, and one time he came over to my house and installed it on my computer so he could play there. And then so I watched him play a game, and I played a game there too, but didn't get really into it until later. We would play normals together or whatever, and then eventually I got hooked, and I was watching every episode of Game Cribs, the Odd One, and Chaos streams whenever they were up. Yeah, I was way in.
God, I used to watch a lot of Reginald, actually.
Yeah.
I used to watch him when I didn't have a computer to play yet, and so I would just watch him farm on the old Scion, and he would get 300 CS every game. It was kind of sad to watch, actually.
Yeah, I think I got forced into playing ADC in whatever our 5-man was, and so I was watching. I remember I would always look up solo mid Chaos guides for whatever ADC I was playing, because I actually had no idea what I was doing. I was just
same. I actually used to use that website so much.
You knew you were a noob if you were on Mobifire and not solomid.net, let's be honest.
Exactly. You got to get the .net right.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's the two of us, and so this podcast is going to be about League of Legends, and what we're going to go over is, every week we're going to talk about the LCS, specifically NA, and we're going to focus on the top teams that we're interested every week. We're probably not going to go over every game, just the ones that we think are interesting, really interesting matchups that are going to go on throughout that weekend. And we're also going to talk about, the game, the patch notes, anything interesting that pops out there, and, how our League life is going, because we don't really have love lives. This is all we have.
Hit me with the sag on that one, dude.
So let's kick it off with talking about the Season 11 items, man. How are you liking them so far?
I think they're pretty good. I'm digging them. I'm, ADC main, so I feel like they're pretty interesting. I feel like they've done a good job of trying to tone things down from the start of the season, so that's been nice. But it seems like there's a lot of like build diversity going on. A lot of different people trying Gale Force. Kraken Slayer's coming back now. I think Shield Bow, that's still viable on some champs. And then I think ADCs are kind of spoiled that like you can kind of build whatever crit item you want next, except for certain champs. So you get to make a few more choices than like I don't know people who just go Gordrink or Sterix every game.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really liking the item changes. I really like the whole mythic item, the focus on mythic items. I really like that. Like you said, ADCs, they have a lot of choice. Actually, they're pretty spoiled. Gale Force is such a super fun item, and I like a lot of the mid lane mythics as well. So I like Rocket Bell, I like Leandries. I think they're all pretty fun to build. I'm still getting used to all of the damages though. Like this season, I feel like I've been getting one shot a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of
especially
true.
by Annie's. I don't know why. Just out of nowhere, every time I play against an Annie, she one shots me at like any time past 6.
I mean, I guess that's kind of her thing though, right? Like I feel bad for Annie if she couldn't one shot anybody, but maybe you need some Merc treads in your life, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. MR doesn't stop her. That's what happens when you get 10 million buffs over 5 years.
Yeah.
They'll just creep up, you know.
It's all LS's conspiracy to get people out of like silver and bronze. He tells Riot, you got to keep Annie strong. Got to give the people what they need.
They got to start somewhere. So there's already 2 patches so far. We're gonna expect 11.3 sometime this week, and we're recording this on Monday night. So we'll probably be talking about 11.3 next week. But was there anything in these first 2 patches that you found, really interesting or impactful to the game?
I'm thinking that the nice things I'm trying to think of what happened in 11.1 very much, but I think it's nice in the last one at least that they kind of toned down Imperial Mandate. Like I didn't really like the champs that would just rush like Mandate Ash and that kind of stuff that would just constantly apply it. That seemed annoying to me. And also they got rid of like Kraken Slayer, Katarina and stuff. That was also nice this patch.
How do you feel about the way that Kraken Slayer works, where it's like it works on some champion skills or auto attacks for no reason or something like that?
Yeah, I don't.
For example, I heard that it works with like Aphelios Q and Senna Q now.
Yeah, well, they changed Aphelios Q. Like his red Q was like the same kind of broken interaction that it was with Katarina. And so on the same patch, they got rid of that as well. So it's like, I'm looking at it right now. It's Aphelios, Katarina, and Urgot. All of them like were supposed to have like reduced modifiers for on-hit damage when you have their abilities going. So now they properly do it, even though it's true damage. So I think that's good as well. Like, because I think it's useful for Aphelios, even if if he can afford to not go Gale Force because of some crazy must dodge abilities. But that you never like those interactions where suddenly somebody does 700 true damage in 2 seconds, aka Camille, but on every champ,
Yeah, for sure. What stood out for me in 11.2 is definitely number 1, the Akali energy nerf, because fuck that champion. Secondly, I think the Nocturne buffs are really cool. Reduce cooldown on his Q and ulti. That should make him really fun to play. I don't know if he's worth playing, but at least he'll be fun,
That's true. Yeah, I like the Senna buffs actually this patch too. Have you played with Senna since they changed the attack speed scaling?
No, I haven't yet. I've been meaning to give it a try though.
It's actually pretty nice. I've been trying to spam it the last couple of days that I've played, and it feels weird. I feel like I've gotten used kind of the last few months playing Senna with lethality and playing for the fat like Q ulti combos and those kind of things, but it's kind of funky playing like where you're actually auto attacking fast. Well, it's still slow-ish, but it's faster. Like you build like 3 attack speed items to start, so it's definitely weird, but it's strong. I like it.
That's good. Oh, I've been meaning to ask you, how did you feel about the whole like Ravenous Hunter super lifesteal kind of meta that was going on for like a month?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't really like it that much. I think I think lifesteal's cool when you can buy it, but it seemed so wrong that everybody could just. I mean, like I feel like secondary runes on ADCs are usually not that good. Like Gathering Storm is like super sick, and I like Nimbus Cloak, but I think I don't know, just getting 10% Omnivamp for every champ, and especially champs like Jhin that could like really abuse the ability Omnivamp that not every champ really does. That was, I don't know, it was just annoying.
Yeah, it was kind of fun to play as it, but then when you play against it, especially someone like Olaf or Aatrox, who just get like a lot more healing, then
Yeah,
that's what was kind of making it overboard, even when you apply grievous wounds to
that's
them.
true, yeah.
All right, is there any last things you want to say about the patch notes before we move on?
I'm thinking if we segue real quick here, because I'm thinking that the Soraka buffs on this patch actually were like super unnecessary. Like when I read those patch notes, I was thinking, dude, this champ is already nuts, and they're just
Uh-huh.
giving it more healing and AP ratios. Like, what's going on?
All right, let's talk about that right now then, dude. Do you have something you want to pick for this week to highlight?
Yeah, dude, I think that's got to be my pick of the week. Is definitely just Soraka as a champion. I don't think it matters where you play her, except that I don't think she can jungle. But if you pick that champ into,
Not with that attitude.
yeah, no, I like your attitude, but the more I think about it, it's not going to work. So stick to the lanes. The champ is not balanced. You do so much, like you're so actually strong in lane if the enemy is like not a super abusive laner. And you can farm from long range. You have a lot of sustain that you can handle, like even some rougher matchups. And I think that me personally, I'll play at bot lane, and I think there's a lot of bot lane combos that it actually works really well with, like things that set up with like a lot of CC stuff like Pantheon or Nautilus that you can combo your silence with, and champs just like can't flash away. They get follow up rooted. You have such good sustained fights because you just have this relentless regeneration from your Q hits and the W's to keep your allies like going forward. It's nuts if you're playing like with a duo or just like can get away with a free lane against stuff like Ornn or Maokai or whatever.
All right, that's cool and all, dude, but here's the true question. Would you take it to ranked?
I would take to ranked if I was duoed with people. I think I'm not against taking it in ranked if you're getting a good counter pick like in mid or top. Like probably especially top, I would be cool with it. Like if you have like Galio or some tank jungle and you get away with like you have good damage on your bot side, you have good tankiness in your mid jungle, or you can just like really make use of, I don't know, Soraka with whatever other champs you have. Like I would be really cool with it as like a counter pick top lane.
Wow, you took that such a little thing and you really ran with that, dude. I guess for me, my pick of the week is going to be support Swain. I think that guy is just so fun to play right now in the bottom lane. Being able to block Electrocute at level 1 pretty easily with just your E, which is the best part about him, by the way, because no bot laners know the range of like a Swain E. It's pretty funny,
so
actually.
True.
Like nobody knows what it does. And then your builds are pretty versatile. You can go a little bit AP, or you can try to rush like Spirit Visage or something like that. I've been trying really hard to make Moonstone Renewer work on Swain, because you just like try to ulti and then you're healing yourself and the people around you.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm pretty sure that rank 5Q is actually a 2-second cooldown, which is the cooldown of Moonstone. So it kind of works out if you
really?
So if you're like diving with your top laner on the enemy backline, you're like healing your top laner at the same time. Or if you're peeling, then you're healing your AD carry. Ideally, if hopefully they don't get one shot.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
That's another story. So yeah, that's what I've been rocking with when I get bored.
Dude, I'm all about Swain actually when I play him. Well, okay, I won't say all about. I used to like Swain a lot, and then I swear that I'm cursed with Swain whenever I play Swain ADC, because I will just get super strong. You know, it's like Swain, like you said, enemy bots, enemy supports don't know how to play against Swain. Always think they can dodge your E, they can never dodge your E. And then you just kill them over and over. I can't count the number of times I've gone like 6-0 in lane as Swain, and then we just giga lose the game because I don't know, it's just cursed. Like my friends actually joke about it, like like if I hover it or pick it, they're just like, ah shit, we lost. And I'm like, man, I do so good. This isn't my fault, guys. They're just like, no, you picked Swain, it's doomed.
It's not your fault, dude. It's not. Okay, well, on this patch too, we got a new champion. Have you played any games as Viego or against him?
I played a couple. I'm trying to think. I always, whenever there's a new champ, I'll always buy the champ the day it comes out and then play it 1v5 against bots. And if I can't win 1v5 against bots, then the champ is bad. So I played Viego and I was able to do that at least. That's good. But then I've played it once in like a normal with some friends and I did it okay. I don't know. It seems like he can do a lot of damage, but it's so easy to like fuck up your skills and go in and just die, I feel like. But if he pops off, he pops off.
Yeah, I have seen some Viegos pop off. I'm actually kind of a cheap bitch, and I haven't bought him yet because I'm waiting for his price to go down from 78 to 63.
That's fair.
I'm not on the hype yet. Yeah, I'm trying to save my blue essence for the chromas, dude.
Okay.
Every little thing counts.
Dude, this last Emporium, I think, speaking of that, sorry. This last Emporium, I swear I got, like, I went and looked at the chroma shop and I was like, oh, I'm going to get some cool chromas. And it's like whatever set, you know how they release it in like sets or like it's like half at one half of the season, half the other, right?
Yeah, not all of them.
Yeah, like this one, I swear, like I must have, like it's got some good chromas in here, but they're all like chromas that I've already bought. So like I wasn't getting any new ones. I was just like, oh yeah, this is the Pizza Sivir ones and like the Dino Nara ones. Okay, I got these. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a shame. I hate it when like I can't finish the chromas. Where like I think Pool Party Rek'Sai has like a bunch of chromas and I only have like half of them.
Yeah.
That bothers me so much, but just broke people problems, I guess,
True.
But yeah, I've definitely seen some Viegos pop off. I think his ulti and his passive are really cool. I actually really like that you go invulnerable while you take somebody's body.
I'm telling you, dude. I think that's the first thing that needs to go with that champ. You're nuts.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I think it's super good. That's why I like it.
That's okay.
I think like thematically he's pretty cool. Not that I'm like a lore nut or anything, but like it's cool that you toss your E and then you kind of walk around in the mist, and then his skills are cool. I like his W. But I also like it doesn't go over walls.
Yeah.
Because we don't need any more movement creep in this game.
That's true. And I think if he's supposed to be a jungler, that's something that's super useful for jungling too. I think they would make his clear a lot faster, but he would have some really annoying ganks with that too. It's like what Jarvan can do, but with less investment.
Yeah, but I like what I see out of him so far. I wonder if they're going to buff him to make him stronger so people try to play him more. But we'll see. And another thing that came with Season 11 is Moonstone Renewer, the Moonstone Renewer combo with Staff of Flowing Water. Have you ever tried this out, man?
Dude, I mean, I talked enough about Soraka already, but yeah, I've played that. I've played with that a few times. I think it's kind of fun. I think it's interesting, like especially with how many like different champs have been trying to pick it up, and people trying to put that like supportive role somewhere else outside of the actual like support role in League. Like I think it's really cool to see that on mid laners, or if you go like Seraphine bot or like Karma top or stuff like that. Like I think that's really interesting and like can open up like different comps and things like that to try and play with. So I think that's been cool. I mean they've already kind of nerfed some of it, right? I think Staff of Flowing Water got nerfed this patch. So I don't think it needs to be super prevalent. I don't want to see it like as something that two champs on each team are going to go. Like that's annoying. I don't want to see Sona Seraphine against like Soraka Karma in bot lane. I would probably stop playing. But
yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's so fun to build. Like whenever you're just playing ARAM or something, you just build it on like Teemo or Brand for no reason.
Yeah, and
you just like heal people. It's so funny.
I do like that.
I think it's a fun.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And I just love how cheap it is too.
That's true. That's really nice to have Moonstone right off the bat. I've been going whenever I play jungle. If I'm not playing like Graves, then I play Lilia, and I do Moonstone Lilia. I think that's super fun.
All right, and the next thing on our list is talking a little bit of Senna. You kind of brought it up already. She got some buffs on 11.2. I believe the drop rate and a gold increase on the souls. Some increased ratios on her Q for AD and AP, and an attack speed or attack damage buff, I think.
Yeah, I think it was mostly an attack speed buff. So they made it so that she actually like her base attack speed scaling is higher than it was before. It's still not like your normal ADC, but you definitely don't lose as much value building attack speed as you used to. And yeah, the Rageblade build is actually pretty interesting. I think I was surprised when I saw it because I think I saw it like Reckless built it first in LEC, but I was like, I don't think I had heard about it, I guess, until those guys pulled it out. And
Yeah.
you don't like,
And can you explain it? Do you know anything more about it? The interaction with Senna?
yeah. So like it works with her passive. So they changed Rageblade a little bit ago with like how Yasuo and Yone use it. I think where you could get, I think it caps them for some reason, but with Senna you get like passive crit chance with your souls, right? As every 20 you get 15% crit. I think is how it works. And for Rageblade that like doesn't um like it obviously doesn't convert into actual crit chance. You get the on hit damage, so you can get Kraken Slayer and Rageblade and have 40% crit from items, but then by that time, like you might already have 40 or 60 souls, and so you have another 45% coming in from your passive, and you just have like a really high on hit damage that you can take like at the same time as your the Kraken Slayer on hit and your just passive procs. You'll just end up doing a lot of damage once you complete those items, and it's really interesting to play with. I feel like it's a lot higher damage Senna build than the like lethality versions.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too. And I think I heard somebody say that it's even worth taking Press the Attack over Glacial Augment.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried a couple games with that, and it's I think yeah, you definitely it takes some getting used to, but you do have like really strong burst once you get a couple items and press the attack under your belt. I'm still not entirely convinced it's like in every game you should take it because I think that Glacial has like really good uses, especially in lane. I think if you go like support center, you probably still go Glacial just to bully and get your passive stacks fast, but I'm not sure.
All right, good discussion. Let's move on to some LCS now, which technically hasn't started, but we got the locked in tournament this year.
Yeah.
The first one, I guess I'll start off here. I think I actually really liked the idea of the locked in tournament because, the fans are just sitting at home waiting for the professional games around the world to start up again. So they get to get the professional games going, but technically the games don't really matter. So it's okay if not every team is all set up yet with all of their players or even their living situations and their facilities. I'm not too sure what it's like down there in Los Angeles with their whole like lockdown situation.
Yeah.
And what the rules are. But I think conceptually I like the lock-in tournament. I like that there's something to play for. And I think even if it in a way it has no impact on the standings or whether you go to MSI or Worlds, I think if you play in it, you still feel a sense of like wanting to win and that sort of thing. So I think it's cool for the players to get some experience and that sort of thing. What about you, man?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was like super interesting. Like you said, it gives like all the teams kind of a chance to like get into shape, I guess would be a good way to put it. I think it was like I think it's unfortunate still that we've seen a lot of like visa issues like plague a lot of teams, but I would much rather like it happen during a lock-in tournament like this than actually like they just FF a couple weeks of LCS because of it. But yeah, I think still, even for like Immortals who put in their academy roster, like that's, a really useful thing for those players. All the new teams in LCS like TSM and EG get a chance to like show off their new rosters and see how that all works. I think, yeah, I think it was still pretty competitive. I liked all the like most of the games. I think were interesting. Maybe not like some of the quarterfinals. A lot of those were stomps, but it's still cool to see everything. And yeah, I was liking just having competitive league back. So anything is good.
Speaking of competitive league, I actually wanted to talk to you about something because I know you're a former athlete.
Oh, of course, yes.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the lock-in tournament, they played on patch 11.1 for the round robin group stage and also the quarterfinals. And then this last weekend for the semi in the finals, they changed the patch that they're playing on. So they're playing on 11.2 for the past weekend. Do you have anything to say about that? Because I got some strong thoughts actually.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even realize that this happened until you like mentioned it. I think it matters less. It definitely seems like they shouldn't have done it because that's just so against like what they do. I mean, hell, they have Worlds on the same patch for like 2 months, and that is a drag. But I guess since this is the start of season, maybe things can shake up a little bit more. I don't know. What do you think about it? It sounds like ready to go
No, I come down already.
in.
Well, okay, so for like, I don't want to start saying some buzzwords like competitive integrity or yada yada, but I do think it's kind of weird that they change patches in the middle of a tournament. Well, it's at least there's a week in between, so they're like a week later. Okay, now they're playing on the live
Yeah.
patch. They're not playing on like one patch one day and then the next day it's a different patch. It's not that bad, but I just feel like it's weird that like I said, there's a prize, there's money on the line, so there is something to play for.
Yeah.
So I just think it's weird that they like something as serious as like a whole patch cycle can mean like shifts to compositions and that sort of thing, especially with the 11.2 changes to like well the Senna drop rate.
Right.
Which we'll get to in the C9 games, and also like the turbo chem tank changes that kind of put Udyr over the line.
Mhm.
Like there's just little things like that where like that kind of matters. So I'm not really about it, but I guess it does help them transition into week one of the LCS a little smoother.
Yeah, I think as you talked about it, that was the one thing I was gonna say is like they do. It's different than the LCS like summer finals or worlds where once the teams not get knocked out, like anybody who lost not this past weekend but the weekend before, anybody who lost is still going to be scrimming and still probably scrimming those other teams. So if they like, you would have had this 1 week in between where Teal and C9 or the four quarterfinalists like would have only been able to scrim each other, and they probably still don't want to do that even if you're on the other side of the bracket, right? Because they would have been the only people playing on the old patch, while the bottom six teams are all already scrimming, practicing for week one of LCS, which is going to be on the next one. So I can see that logic too.
That's true. That's true. Okay, yeah, you definitely you definitely mellowed me out there. Because when I had written that, I was actually so mad about that. But now I can see both sides now.
Yeah, I get it. I think I would definitely be kind of pissed, I think, as the teams that have to go into quarterfinals on like this brand new patch, especially if it shook things up a lot. Um, but I mean they were all in the same time frame, so probably not that bad.
Yeah, I guess it all works out in the end. And every team from the semifinals, they seem pretty prepared.
Yeah, true.
The next thing I want to bring up is that I think from now on, dude, I'm exclusively watching the Doublelift Co-Stream for my LTS viewing experiences.
Yeah?
I've been really enjoying his commentary so far. I like well, first of all, I love the exclusive interviews. Getting in there with Spica, just ringing him up on the phone. Hey, bro, come to the stream right now. Just right after too. Like he did it this past weekend, I think, with Jensen as well. He just got him on the line like right away, right after his interview. After his post game interview, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really like what he's been adding as we watch the games together, because it's just me and him.
You and your boy Peter. Yeah, yeah, I get you on the co-stream. I liked a lot of what I watched with Doublelifts. I think I've still been like not spending all my time watching his. I think sometimes like if I'm like kind of just doing something else, I'll turn on like the mainstream and just let them like kind of do the play-by-play for me actually. But if I'm sat down and like legit watching, it is really interesting to listen to Doublelift play or just watch the games and talk about them. Like his perspective is always like super interesting, I think.
Yeah, I love the like high level insight he's been able to provide of like a little bit behind the scenes of, and then also just like the things that only like a team would know about.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like I love the main cast as well. And the weird thing is, I've actually never tried co-streams before.
Yeah, I was a big fan of actually Sneaky and Medos' co-stream last year. I don't think I've watched. I think Medos has still been doing it. I don't think I've watched any of his yet.
Mm-hmm.
But those two were always fun to listen to as well. The little classic C9 duo.
All right, now let's get into the past weekend of games. We had the semifinals of the lock-in tournament. Let's get started with 100 Thieves versus Cloud9. What'd you think of that series?
Dude, I thought that was a good series. I liked kind of a lot of what both teams were doing. I like 100 Thieves a lot so far this season, at least what we've seen. I mean, I know that they were gonna have decently high expectations coming in as like 4/5 Golden Guardians from last year that showed up kind of in summer playoffs, and Sunday's still a beast. I liked like this whole series. He just was showing Fudge like what it's like to be a NA top laner, I guess. But yeah, I think 100 Thieves is actually really good. FBI Huhi and Sven and Vulcan, that was a sick bot lane matchup, just like all series long.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I really liked what I saw out of both teams. I think 100 Thames looked really good in the first two games. Overall, 3-2 for Cloud9. I think it was still really good and fun to watch, although it felt pretty long.
That's true.
Speaking of pretty long, is Saturday's games of TL versus EG, where they had some crazy delays for the start of the matches, to the point of like the games were shorter.
That's true. I think Riot must have called EG up and said, "Hey, look, sorry, this is our bad. We screwed up production, but we want to keep it short. I've got something to do tonight. How about you guys run it down?" And they did it. So I don't know. It wasn't that bad. I think EG they didn't look useless, but TL just looked so good this weekend. I think it was too hard for them.
Yeah, if I have any takeaways from this series, I really like the way that Impact is playing this tournament.
Yeah.
I was a little high on Deathly at first, but that series calmed me down. I'm still looking forward to what he can do in the regular season, though.
Yeah.
I'm not rooting for him to be replaced by Sneaky or just yet or something like that.
I think
you never know, dude.
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's why he hasn't been doing the co-streams yet. He's still eyeing spots in the LCS. But yeah, I like Deathly's play too. But I think in this series, CoreJJ and Tactical are just showing that they're like 2v2 gods, like all series long. Doesn't matter. They played against FBI Hui, they smacked FBI and Hui. They solo killed them. They, like just I don't know. It was just that I think that's too good. And if you're not actually like on another level, I think any bot lane is going to get exposed by those two.
Yeah, it's been really good watching Tactical play pretty much all the AD carries from Aphelios to Samira.
Yeah, he's like the only guy playing Samira. I'm liking it.
Yeah, and he draws Callista bands and like that's pretty crazy. Yeah. It's really fun to watch Tactical and CoreJJ. Moving on to the finals, we had TL versus C9, another 3-2 series. That was really fun to watch after we had the first couple games out of the way. Do you have any big takeaways or thoughts on this series?
I think this one, for a little bit, I was like, after the first two games, I was worried about C9. Like, I was like, damn, like they looked okay in their other series. They put TSM up to a good fight, but I guess they're just bad. Like, they don't know what they're doing. And then the end of game 2, they showed like inklings of hope, and then game 3 they finally like turned it back together. Yeah, I mean this was really a banger series. I liked a lot of it.
I'm definitely glad it didn't end after 2 games because C9 really doesn't have it together, which that's why the lock-in tournament is good. They get to spot out their weaknesses,
and you get
they get to work it out.
You get to see stage games where teams like already get to know each other. I think you go into LCS and a lot of times they'll you get one game, so you don't know like if it's just an off week for this team, right? If like how scrims have been going, that they've definitely not scrimmed like this team that they're playing in LCS for a little bit. So whatever they're going is like he said, she said about what people are playing that week. But you get to go to 5 games against, a team like TL and actually play out the drafts and see what people are doing well and what they're doing bad. Like you get to, I don't know, these are always fun, I think, to watch the pros work it out.
How do you feel about Udyr being number 1, dude? Because it seemed like whoever got Udyr this series, that team won the game.
The whole tournament, honestly, the whole tournament. I feel like I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened. Like, and I'm too small brain of a player to be a jungle main and know like what he's doing right or wrong. But it seemed like literally every game that I saw someone pick Udyr, I would, I might look away for the first 3 minutes, and then suddenly you see like Udyr solo diving like the top laner, just big dicking it into the enemy jungle. He's like got 4 kills. The enemy jungler's down 20 farm.
Yeah, I think it's actually so crazy when you just think of him as like he doesn't have an ulti, but he's just like this super stat stick of like movement speed, stun, damage, shield, heal. Like what is there to not like about this champion when you like think of it in that manner? Like it's actually so crazy.
So beefy. Yeah, I think what I liked a lot, and you saw it in this series, was how TL, and I mean C9 too with it, but like it's like I don't know why I'm going too crazy about this, but like I'm thinking about how bronze players like really care about a Mumu, and people would like you'd ban like a Mumu Blitzcrank, and it was like because they were these like obvious all-in like champs, right? Like when you get the blitz hook, your whole team knows to kill the guy.
Right.
When you get it a Mumu ulti, your whole team knows to kill the guy. And then when you play Udyr, you've got this point and click stun. You can see him go super fast, like at the enemy AD or the enemy mid, and he hits the guy. But then this isn't just like, oh, I have to channel my small like silver player P brain onto like who got stunned, right? It's like this is CoreJJ and Tactical and Jensen and everybody that like see this stun and know exactly what to do, and they can like you suddenly it's not just an Udyr that's on top of the Syndra, but it's a Rell flash engaging. It's like Alfari like flanking from the side as Gnar. It's some crazy stuns coming in from far away with like a Jensen champ or a Galio ulti coming in on top, and you're like, oh shit, that guy's dead. Like it just seemed OP.
Yeah, dude, and I'm glad you brought up the Rell because I actually did not care about that champion, but after seeing the lock-in tournament, that champion is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I think I had. Yeah, I don't know. What did you feel like when she was on release? Like, I thought that champ looked useless. Like, some games she would beat people because she would find the right all-ins in lane, I guess. Or, like, you would just not know what she was going to do and she'd get the all-in. But she seemed so useless in, like, the majority of the games I played against her or with her.
Yeah, that's how I kind of thought about that too. Like I watched the spotlight and I was like, okay, it's like kind of like Taric where you bind a person, and then I didn't like how obvious her W is. Where like she like I think is that the one where she jumps up?
Go Janna every game.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I thought people were just gonna go Janna every game and like Q it, and then it's like the champ is useless.
Yeah, so I didn't like that at first, but there's all this hidden stuff like she breaks shields and that sort of thing. I guess that's really useful when you're coordinated.
Yeah.
Unlike my games.
And the extra resistances, you throw that on an Udyr, and suddenly Udyr's running in with like 30 in extra armor and MR because of Rell E or whatever.
Is it really that much?
Let me check, because I know that you get extra. I think it's based on how much she has. Let me Google this.
Okay, yeah, because that's like, I think Leona W is like plus 40. So that's pretty crazy if hers is plus 30.
Yeah, Rell farms a tether, granting the ally 10% of her total MR and magic and armor while she's nearby. So whenever they have the bind, they just have 10% armor and MR of Rell. So she'll, as she buys tank items, it gets more. And if she starts stealing it from enemy tanks too, then you just start transferring some of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's always, I think what you can tell like the real good Rell players do when they just like when people were picking Nidalee with it, and you just have a Rell like walking behind this Nidalee in the enemy jungle, and Nidalee just starts running at you and throwing spears and jumps on you, and then suddenly you're stunned, and then suddenly you're knocked up and magneted in. It's crazy.
Yeah, the magnet is actually like surprisingly strong.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that's like it's punishing when you don't have anything to deal with it, and so. Like, I don't know, like I played a couple games like when she first came out where I was like Ezreal, and she'd get on me and I'd be like, wait, I can just E away.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, okay, it's useless. Like I thought it was, when I first saw the spotlight, I was like, holy shit, it's an AoE Orianna, like Skarner R. Like she's going to screw entire teams with this into, like how's that going to happen? And then you play against it and you're like, wait, I just like walked out. What happened? I don't even know. But yeah, watching Pros player, and she just has so much other CC, I think that you're forced to get rid of your escape somehow, and then you're just trapped in this R, or somebody else can follow up off it. It's nuts.
Yeah, I'm really starting to like watching that champion. I don't know if I want it to show up in my games, though.
I think I only want to have it in my games if I'm playing with Huhi or CoreJJ, because those guys are insane with that champ. I saw so many crazy engages out of those two.
Those two can fuck for sure. All right, so that's it for the lock-in tournament. And so LCS starts next week, and with the start of LCS, we actually got a new Spring Split format. I'll try to go through it really quick. So it's the same as before for some parts. Every team plays every team twice for a total of 18 games, I believe. And for the viewers, there's going to be 5 games each weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is 15 games. And the top 6 after the regular season of 18 games for each team, they get to go to the mid-season showdown. And in that tournament, the winner gets to go to MSI for whatever they have planned for that. The cool thing for this time, rest in peace Doublelift, is that the spring, whatever record that you end with for the spring split, it actually carries on into the summer split. So you maintain your record for how your team did that season. And I guess I'll just stop there for now before I explain that. What do you think about the spring split changes?
I'm a fan of them. You know, I think some of it is like I don't know how I felt necessarily, you know, a couple weeks ago, but after watching Lock In, you know, definitely something that's worth them shortening the spring period for. I always like more games, so getting the like 18 games in 6 weeks sounds nice to me. You know, getting to watch your team play 3 times a week, I think is always interesting. It reminds me of the super weeks from, you know, the days of old.
Uh-huh.
I guess LEC has been doing that the last couple splits, and I like that too. You know, just 3 days of games is, I think, great overall.
Yeah, I personally like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I wasn't too hot about the Monday thing
Yeah,
from last year. But yeah, I think that the changes where the records carry over, I feel like that's going to be really good for making sure all the teams focus up now. Hopefully
yeah,
that doesn't lead to too much burnout for the team that wins, because obviously you have to play super serious now, play in the playoffs, go to MSI, come back, but it starts all over again, you know. But
true. I haven't thought of that, but
I mean that's just the
yeah,
winner's dilemma every year, I guess.
that's true. And if they're like C9, right? I feel like C9 would have rather had this happen last year, so that when they fucking go off a cliff at the end of summer, it's not as damning because they had like an 18-0 split or whatever.
Yeah, that I think they lost 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, and I think it was actually TSM that beat them
Yeah, that's
at
why I
least one of them.
remember.
So I'm not dissing that, but they were too good last spring that it seemed, you know, I'm sure they would have liked to take that 1 or 2 loss record into summer as well.
Uh-huh. Actually, now that you bring up C9 again, they actually showed a lot of strategies last weekend with like the Seraphine Tarek bot and still running it back with the no farm Senna, where you just focus on the souls and you let the support CS. Do you think that
Hmm.
I think those kind of strategies were like they're like slightly unconventional. Not so much on the Sona Tom Kench, but the Seraphine Tarek, I feel like they should have held on to that for a playoff match. I mean, who knows how if that's still going to be strong like 4 patches from
Yeah.
now. But what do you think? Do you think they showed too much during the lock-in tournament, or does it not matter?
You know, I don't think I think that it doesn't matter because one, I think that lock in, you know, it's such a short tournament that I think, you know, you show what you can to get the wins that you can, like while you can still get them. Like I wouldn't worry about like trying to hide anything, especially this like when you have kind of no idea what's going to go on with the other teams too. I think you just can be cool to go all out if it's going to get you a dub. But yeah, I think the split is just too long, you know, and I mean, and C9 would do that even last season in the regular split, right? Like they ran the Senna Tom Kench stuff and the Sonateric stuff the split before or the season before, right? They ran that stuff into the ground. So I don't think like I don't think them showing it now like is going to take it out of their pocket. And I think that all those players are probably good enough that they'll, you know, they're ready to pick any of those things like at the drop of a hat. Like if they haven't played, you know, Sven and Vulcan, if they haven't played Senatom in, you know, 2 years, I'm sure that they could play it and stomp any LCS bot lane with it. Like the day you call them for it.
For sure, they have both been playing really well lately, especially Sven.
I think on that front, honestly, to segue real quick, I don't know, I think that C9's like focus in their game seems off to me. Like I would have thought they would have put less into Blabber, like for most of these games. Like I think that obviously they're on the train that like 100 Thieves was with closer Olaf, like you just like those kind of champs are just actually too insane. You play around your jungle, you're gonna win the game. But like I'm remembering back to like when they've like I mean I guess it happened when they first got Blabber, right? Like where Reaper was just drafting like wholly around him. He got to go nuts on stage,
Uh-huh.
and they did the same thing with Licorice, where like they'd pick Licorice like whatever champs he wanted, they'd play around his lane, and then I felt like if Reaper was still the coach, I feel like they pick all of Fudge's like crazy stuff. Like they're picking all that, but they're focusing on Fudge. They're not picking him Lulu Karma just so that he can play Lulu Karma like for Blabber, right? Like I think they would have picked him like the Graves top and like tried to gank for him, or I don't know.
That was a funny game.
Weird to me. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I think they're still trying to get used to having watched their games. I think they're still trying to get used to like playing around perks as well.
Yeah,
because I think in the finals he just played like three maybe even four straight games of TF. And that's helped. And I think what he's trying to do is, like you said, follow up on anything Blabber does, and really just put pressure on the map with the TF ulti. And I guess that's just the meta right now, where the strong mids like TF and Galio, their map pressure is really strong right now. On top of like them having really good synergy with the new items of Rocket Belt. And I think it's true, dude. Like some of the OP jungle champs are some of the strongest in the game right now. So I think it is a good idea to focus on the jungler, especially when your team gets Olaf or Udyr and the other team is stuck with Graves. Talia is okay. I think Talia is really strong actually, but I don't think Graves is that good.
Which is crazy because I feel like Graves has had such high priority for so long that it's almost weird to see like this fall from grace that Udyr is running him over.
Of all champions.
Of all champions.
Let's get out of this and move on to the first week of LCS. And for this, we're actually recording our podcast on Monday night, where they actually haven't released the schedule for LCS.
I wonder if anyone knows. I wonder if the teams are just going to show up and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, who are we playing?
C9? Fuck.
Yeah. No, honestly, wouldn't that be crazy if like even the teams didn't know? That would suck.
They just sent him a link. They send him an invite link. It's from Tournament Official 1, and they're like, you're playing against TL. Good luck.
Yeah. Actually, that would be really funny if you like didn't know who you're playing against.
Yeah.
Or like if
draw from a hat.
Yeah, or if they told you like, okay, you're playing 2 games this weekend, but you don't know the order or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's toxic. Never mind. Okay, but yeah, so I think in the future when there is a schedule that's released, we're just gonna pick a couple of games that we're interested in for that weekend, and whichever matchups are interesting. Because I don't think we're too interested in talking about every team every weekend. Especially if there's going to be 15 games. That's actually just too much to watch for my small little brain.
Unless Niles is picking Quinn every game, then I'm going to talk about Niles losing on Quinn. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's the thought that counts. So yeah, I guess without a schedule, what I'll say is I'm looking forward to TL playing. Definitely C9. I want to see how they improve and what changes they make to their playstyle. Speaking of playstyle, I've been loving the way that 100 Thieves plays, at least when they win. They seem really aggressive. Right. They're diving towers, and I like their map movement as well. And unfortunately, like, I just love TSM like to a fault. So I actually don't like their team right now, and we'll get into that when we discuss our power rankings for who we think is going to make it to the mid-season showdown. But yeah, I just want that. I just want that team to do good, but I don't know if they will. What about you, man? Who are you looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I think more of the same. I've got faith in TSM. I think a little bit more. I think to go straight into the lock-in, I think they were probably a little like thrown off, like not set in stone on what they all could play and what they wanted to play. Like like the NAR picks and stuff made it seem like they were still a little out of whack. But so I'm looking to see more out of what TSM can do, and with the week off in between here that they got to practice more. I think, like you said, I think TL and C9, I think both looked really strong in the finals. I'm excited. I don't know. I think that CoreJJ is just too fucking good, and Tactical and him are working well. It's like so well together. I think about it every time that like I try and play like bot lane is I just like I wish that I could play at the same like level of coordination that those guys do, that they know exactly when they want to go in. They always are confident to win their 2v2 matchup outright. Like there's no waiting to scale out of those two. So I'm always hyped to see those guys play. So any TL games, same with 100 Thieves, honestly, with FBI and Huhi, they got shown up by the tactical CoreJJ bot lane, but on their own, like they're still going nuts. I don't know. I think those are my big three. It's like TSM, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're looking for love, dude, I think there is like subreddits for that. No joke. I think it's called like Bot Lane Tinder or something like that. Like you can find the one if you really try.
That's fair. That's probably true. I I feel like that happens more often than not, where somebody, I guess I don't know what I'm saying that happens, but it happens a lot where I'll play bot and like, we win a game or you go off, or like you played two normals back to back and you end up in the same lobby, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I've gotten more than a few people who have added me, and then like we play maybe one game like over the next couple days, and then they just sit in my general friends list forever. So I don't know. Maybe I do need to go on bottling Tinder and just commit more than take the rando friend requests.
Yeah, just give it a try, man. Yeah, you never know until you try.
That's true.
For some things, not everything. So I guess that for our last segment of the podcast, we're gonna do our predictions for 1 through 6 placement. That will be going to the midseason showdown. So basically, who do you think is going to be 1 through 6 for the end of the spring split after the end of 18 games? You want to go first, Raymond, or you want me to start?
Yeah, I guess. How do you want to just run through each other's lists, or do you want to go spot by spot or bottom to top? Like, is there any preference on that?
I think just run through it. If you want to stop and explain something, go for it. But I think a lot of people's lists are going to be pretty similar. Maybe the last bottom 3 spots are contested.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah, I'll just run through then real quick. I'll go from top to bottom here. So I think number 1, it's got to be Team Liquid. I think they're like just too insane. Alfari's looked like a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Tactical and Cora looked like monsters. Jansen looked like a monster. I don't know if Santorin can play more than Udyr, but I think with how his lanes are playing, like he can play whatever he wants and he'll still look like a monster. So I think TL is gonna just, they'll start off strong, and I don't think people will easily surpass them this split. So I see them as top 1 for sure. I think 100 Thieves looked really good. They only really met their match against Team Liquid, and I think, honestly, I feel like they gave them a better series than C9 did, even though they both got 2 wins. I think the games where TL won against C9, they were way more dominant than the games where they won against 100 Thieves, so I'm putting 100 Thieves at number 2.
Wow.
I am putting C9 at number 3 here. I think they have too much individual talent, and I think that they probably just need some time to fit Fudge into the roster, fit Perks into the roster, maybe dial Blabber down just a little bit so that he can let these other new players, find their way in Cloud9. But they're still really good, I think, as a team of 5. So I'd expect them to pick up a lot of wins. And I'm going to fit number 4 here. I'm going to put in TSM. I'm thinking that they're... And this is... Okay, so for me, this is really just between TSM and EG.
Uh-huh.
I don't think any of the other teams are, like, kind of at this, like, same tier. Like, I'm thinking there's one other team that's going to be below these, and it depends on how these two teams play too. They could fluctuate a lot. But I'm putting TSM here at number 4. I think that Spica and Power Vivo and Sword Art are all really good players. I think that Huni has I think Huni is still a really good player, and I think I have enough faith in Bjergsen, and maybe I'm just going too hard as a TSM fan here. I have enough faith in Bjergsen that he wouldn't have got like a washed Huni onto TSM, and I don't think Huni is that good of a con man that he could have convinced like everybody else there that like, yeah, dude, I'm washed, but I'd be really funny on the team or something. Like
it's about the
I think he's
content, dude.
it's about the content, dude. You shipped away BB. They need to get more content onto Legends, so they had to bring in Huni. I get it, but I think that he can come into his own, and this team will find like some level of success. I don't think it'll happen too fast. I don't know, but I think they'll find their way up in this like top half. And I think number 5, I'm putting EG here, and I don't know. I'm cautiously like pessimistic about this team. I think they showed a lot of good stuff in the lock-in, and I think Impact showed he's really good. And we saw the hints of it from Definitely, right? And Ignar and Svenskirian, I think, are both playmakers on the map. Same with Jizuke. I think Jizuke, like you saw in their series against TL, right? I think you saw basically he was playing like a better Damonte, like individually better, I think. Like a lot of the plays that like Damonte, like maybe it was just because he played Rise. They both played Rise, and that's the comparison I was making. But I felt like Jizuke would like knew how to impact the sides like individually better, even though the Damonte had like the better team play to actually do it. But Jizuke is kind of a mad genius if it goes right. But I feel like as a team, I just don't see them. Like I feel like they might have been performing like uncharacteristically well this tournament, and that's like near their peak. Like I'm not sure that those 5 players go much higher than what they showed here, kind of. Like I don't think they can be better than TL, better than C9, better than 100 Thieves. Like, and if TSM figures out what they're doing, I think that they could, easily go above what I see as the EG peak. So that's why I'm putting them at 5.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
And then 6 here for me. And I think, I don't know, the bottom half of the league is a little weird, but I'm on the Jose Tadeo FlyQuest train right now. And I think that I don't know, that's going to be, I think it'll be interesting to see that team play. I think Licorice and, Johnson are like really good. I think Johnson was one of my favorite AD carries in the LCS last year when he was playing on Dignitas, and him and Afro were just like dragging that team like by the balls to the few wins that they got. But I think that he, with better players around him, can be really good. And Jose Tadeo seemed like he was doing pretty well in the few games that we got to see him in lock-in. So I've got hopes for that team.
All right, that's a good list. I'm actually pretty much the same for 1 through 5. So for me, I've got Team Liquid up first. Like you said, I think they have really strong lanes, and it's because of that, because of how strong Alfari looked and how strong their bottom lane is. I think what that means is it's less likely that they'll drop random games, because honestly, that can happen. Where like for second place, I'm going to put C9, and I think what I've seen out of C9 in the lock-in tournament, when teams they really play through the top lane and they give Fudge a hard time, which that sucks, but hopefully they can shore that up. But I think it is possible for them to just drop random games like that to teams around their skill level in the 1 through 4, maybe even 5 range.
And if Blabber turns his brain off for the first half of a game, he might just lose it for him.
He's usually good for like the first 10 minutes. From what I've seen, but all in all, I think their peak skill levels are really close. It's just gonna be, and I'm gonna put C9 in second because I think their coaching staff is really good, and I think because of that they're gonna shore up a lot of their problems. But speaking of coaching staff, 100 Thieves has a really good coaching staff as well, I think, with 6 on there and a couple other people. So I'm gonna put them at third. I really liked what I saw out of them in the lock-in tournament. I like the way that they played, especially together. Like you said, their bottom lane has been really strong. And top lane is actually like daddy, so I'm really liking what I've seen out of that team.
Some daddy, baby.
Yes, sir. And then also 4th place. Like 4th and 5th was also a toss-up for TSM and EG for me. And I'm also going to put TSM at 4th. I don't like the way that they win, because I feel like when I watch them win, they won because they dragon stacked. which is impressive. Like, how do they keep getting all these dragons like every game, even if they're down gold,
Right.
like, and that sort of thing. And I think their lanes have been really spotty, especially top and sometimes bottom, with Lost playing Jhin every game and feeling like he's getting pushed in, and sometimes Sword Art doesn't follow up on some of the roam timings that the other support is when you do get pushed in like that. But I feel like, with a lot of review and a good coaching staff, they've got Bergson, they've got that Case guy who's I I think he's notorious for being really well, and he's worked with Team Liquid in the past as well when they went to MSI in 2019, I believe, or maybe it was 18.
Yeah. And I think he worked for Origin when they were not a dumpster fire org in the LEC as well. So
Yeah, so
I think he's got a good history behind him.
I'm pretty confident in them. And I feel pretty good about EG being up next. I think they have some strong lanes as well. Impact's been playing insane. And I felt like in the round robin, they won a lot of games that way as well, when teams weren't banning Renekton and just handing it over, and he was running over the game with that.
Right.
And we saw like a lot of Renekton and Pantheon bans in the knockout portion of it, which is interesting to see. So I think they have some good wins that I like. Although admittedly I didn't see every EG game, but I'm gonna put them at 5th. And then for 6, it's gonna be a toss up. It's hard to say. I'm really curious how CLG is gonna do. Like, they have a lot of good like veterans. They're gonna have Broxa and Finn coming in, and we never even got to see them play. So it's a little unfair to give them, I guess, the benefit of the doubt. But I guess I'm thinking put a little respect there with, Pobelter, Wild Turtle. They're kind of OGs. But you never know. So for 6, I'm kind of splitting it between CLG and maybe Dignitas. I think Dignitas is playing okay, and they've got some veterans spread throughout as well. I really value that over like mostly full rookie teams. Although I will say that I liked to see the Golden Guardians play. Like you said, I like to see Nows in. Nows as a top laner. Who's the jungler again? Iconic. Yeah, I really like watching Iconic play as well.
Yeah. I think that's I feel bad that I put like in the full 10. I feel like I put Golden Guardians at the bottom, and I still feel bad about it because like I want to like that team and I want to see them do well, but I don't see it happening. Yeah, which is a shame because they did good in the games. Like, I don't know, they still did good in the round robin, I felt like, but just not good enough. They're just like just below, breaking into being mid tier.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame because like a team like that is where you want the insane coaching staff.
That's true.
Okay, I think that about wraps it up. Is there anything you wanted to say?
Actually, let me put one more thing in there, and I'll say this to back up my TSM placement. Even though that we both put TSM in the same place, but I think what's worth noting is that TSM only lost to the top 3 teams. Like, they only lost to TL, 100 Thieves, and C9.
That Golden Guardians game is pretty close, man.
The Golden Guardians game was close. You're right there. Which is hard to say when we just talked about how Golden Guardians is extra bad, yes. But I think that if you put... I don't know. I just think that like you have to give that like some credit, that it's hard to gauge like how good they can be when they face like such brick walls like that early on in the season, right? Like, we saw how good TL and C9 and 100 Thieves were in the knockout rounds. So like to say that any of their losses like looked egregiously bad against them, like I don't think it's like quite fair enough yet. But I'm not handing them the LCS trophy because they put up a fight against 100 Thieves or something, but or against Cloud9 really, I guess is the one where they put up a fight. But like that's why I'm a little bit more optimistic about them as well.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I think they had some shining moments in the C9 series as well. That at least they're on the right path, which is why I'm optimistic as well. Okay, well, I think that's going to be it for episode 1 of On the Hunt, a League of Legends podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast on the service that you're listening to us on if you haven't already subscribed. And we would appreciate it, since we're brand new, if you would give us a rating or hit the like button, if because that would really show us some support, and every little thing helps. We will be on YouTube, so you can find us there, as well as your podcast player of choice, from iTunes to Spotify. We plan on being on everything. So I guess we'll see you all next week for another episode of On the Hunt.
So long, everybody.